Hey, what's up, you guys? You are now tuned into the Stacie Bell Show with your girl Stacie. Today I have my two guests with me, Sean and Darren.
What's up? What's going on?
So for all the people who are already subscribed to my channel, welcome back. To all the people who are new and found my channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button right below.
Right there.
And make sure you put that bell notification on so you can be notified whenever I post up new content and new episodes. So you guys, today's going to be a really deep episode, and we're going to talk about the George Floyd case. In the beginning of the show, I'm just going to give a general background information about this case in case some people are not up to date with news and are not sure what's going on right now. So I'm going to let you guys know, and then we'll get into a further discussion about the whole situation, okay? So on May 25th, a 46-year-old black man named George Floyd was arrested by Minneapolis police officers under accusations that he purchased cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill at a local deli, in which the deli employee made the call to 911. Mr. Floyd was unconscious and pinned beneath 3 police officers, showing no signs of life. Several videos from bystanders and security cameras circulated, showing evidence of these officers taking a series of actions that violated the policies of the Minneapolis Police Department and turned fatal, leaving George Floyd unable to breathe, even as he and onlookers called out for help. Police officer Derek Chauvin, who is white, kept his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I'm going to emphasize that one more time. Derek Chauvin left his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. There are videos that show that Mr. Chauvin never removed his knee even after Mr. Floyd lost consciousness and for a full minute after paramedics arrived at the scene. All 4 police officers who were involved in the death of George Floyd are Derek Chauvin, Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Kuang, and Tu Thao. All of these officers were fired and arrested. Derek Chauvin was charged with 2nd degree and 3rd degree murder. The other 3 officers were charged with aiding and abetting 2nd degree murder and 2nd degree manslaughter. So that's just a little background about what we're talking about with the George Floyd. I just want to take a moment of silence, if we can, for the death of George Floyd. So we're going to get into these questions, okay?
And before you go on, you forgot to mention that the only reason that they were charged was because there was a massive protest.
Okay, yeah.
For a couple of days.
Definitely.
Then he got charged. Don't forget that.
Yeah. So my first question to both my guests I'm going to ask is, as a young educated black man, both you guys are educated, living in America, how does it make you feel when you see and hear men of color being maliciously attacked, abused, and killed by police officers? Sean, I don't know if you want to go first.
Well, for me, it's kind of catch-22, because when you're in that type of position, you can't really be too vocal about it because the majority of your workplace does not look like you, I would say. So you tend to try to hold in your feelings a little bit because you don't want to be singled out by a particular person because you're not in the majority. Another thing is it pisses you off to the core because, for one, you can't do anything to help a brother out because you're not even in that situation or you're not even there. And second, it's a cycle. It happens over and over and over again and nothing changes. So that's the reason why, we are so upset about the situation sometimes, I would say.
How about you, Darren? How do you feel?
Can I get the question one more time, please?
Yeah, as a young, educated black man living in America, how does it make you feel when you see and hear men of color being maliciously attacked, abused, and killed by police officers?
Me personally, very upsetting. It kind of makes you wonder if you're up next. And when you're outside and you're on the road, a police officer pulls behind you, a little fear comes in your chest, you feel it in your heart. You're like, man, you start to panic a little. got the cops behind me. What's next? Then you stop, you know what I'm saying, slowing down, and you just pray for the best, whether or not they pull you over or not.
Yeah, I know when I drive past a police officer, I know some people worry about, hey, am I getting a ticket? But for me, I worry about, damn, what's about to happen to me? Are they gonna try to arrest me for nonsense? You know what I mean? That's the stuff that pops in my head. So, just to add to what Darren said.
Yeah, definitely. So my next question is, how do you guys think the cops should have handled this situation instead? Darren, you go first.
Me personally, once again, I think, matter of fact, if you're a decent human, you know that act was very wrong. It was too much. It was unnecessary. Police brutality is unnecessary, and I feel like there's too much going on right now for us to be so divided and feel so much separation between the police and the civilians, and especially our black civilians and our people of color. And it's very upsetting because a lot of white people, they enjoy the black culture, you know what I'm saying? And for us to still see hate crimes to this day, it's absurd and it's unacceptable. And at the end of the day, it was harsh treatment and it should never happen.
Definitely, I agree about that black culture stuff.
I think that, for one, if you're arresting someone, you see that they're already down, first inquire about the situation. If you're gonna, because I saw the first video and they had him already in handcuffs sitting down by the store. If in fact you're gonna charge him with something or at least tell him what he did, if you're arresting him, arrest him. If you have to write him a ticket or a summons or something, you do that. There's no reason, and I will say this again, there's no reason for you to be treating someone like that over a fake $20 bill if it was fake. No reason whatsoever. I can't see why that would happen.
Yeah.
And then you have a Caucasian male killing 8 or 9 people in a church and was arrested calmly, taken to Burger King, fed, given stuff to drink, and then taken to the jail. No scratches, period. But as soon as you're black, they come and force is the first thing they try to do. As a matter of fact, just to say that, I just saw a video the other day where this black guy, they were trying to arrest him. He was asking for what? For what? What did I do? The cop couldn't tell him what he did, right, Darren? And then after, he signaled for backup. And the first thing that the second officer did, he came up to him and choked him and said, "Get your effing hands behind your back." No talking to. They haven't read him his rights. No. And they didn't ask for his license yet. They didn't ask for his license yet at all. So, I don't know if you guys can see this, but when it comes to dealing with the police, we don't get the same treatment. They're not kind, they're very hostile at the start. And it's not cool.
Yeah, and technically, as a citizen or just any civilian, you are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But the society we live in, it's like you're guilty until proven innocent, you know? And it's wrong. Like Sean and Darren were saying, it's not right. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. When we fall down, we bleed. You know, your blood is red, my blood is red. It doesn't matter if you're purple, oriental, whatever color you are. We're all human beings. There's literally only one race, the human race. So let's just spread love and peace.
Facts,
You know?
facts.
So my next question is, how can people from around the world and bystanders who witness situations like this happening in front of their eyes prevent these cases of police brutality from happening?
I would say the people are already doing it now. They're recording everything. So if in fact you find yourself in a situation, pull out your phone and record. That's the first thing I would say. Record, 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 record. Second, if you are a person of color, doesn't matter if you would call yourself black or brown or Native American, if you are a person of color, try to see if you can educate your friends on the situations you have been through or what you have seen occur, and try to get them to understand why you are screaming for justice, I would say. Also, after you get them on your side, that means you have gained an ally to shout for you as well. And if someone from the other spectrum is shouting for you, they can persuade other people who look like them to do the same. And you can add them to your army of, what I would say, an army of your injustice fighters. So, that's what I think. You have to win over the other people, and so they will be able to win over other people for you.
So I just want to add something to how Sean said, if you have your phone record, make sure you always have a charger in your car. Make sure your phone is always charged. Like, don't have it dead, because it's your word against the police officer's word. So proof within the video evidence is what's going to help you. So always make sure you have that backup charger, that portable charger. Always make sure your phone is charged when you go out, because you just never know. You know, at the end of the day, we leave our house taking a risk if we're going to make it back home, safe and sound. So every day when you do make it home safe and sound, that's a blessing. So yeah.
And make sure you Facebook Live it.
Yes,
because
definitely.
that saves it. Don't record.
And then if it...
And because they can easily go and delete. Facebook Live it.
Yeah. Instagram Live, whatever social media you have, do that. Darren, did you want to add anything to, how you think bystanders can help, or?
I believe bystanders can help by being a voice for the people and letting people know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? So.
Definitely. So my last question, as a nation, how can we come together to peacefully resolve police brutality? Peacefully.
First things first, you got to start with your senators. You got to vote for the people who are trying to make a change, because if you still have the same old farts in there from since 1909, I'm kidding, but 19 whenever, and you haven't seen a change, it's time for them to go. And I'm just being legit. It's time for them to go. You have senators over there you have senators in the United States right now who support white supremacy groups, who are all for dividing, and they secretly support racism. They need to go. That's the first thing I would say. Vote.
Do your research too. Don't just go vote and you don't know any background. Do your research. See if your values align with their values, things like that,
Definitely. After voting, I would say you could try to see if you can come up with policies. Call your local senator or the local AG, see what they're doing to stop police brutality, see what steps they're trying to put in place. Call your mayor. Just try to be a voice. And that's all I would say. If you try to be a voice, someone will hear you. So,
Agreed.
Darren, do you have anything to add?
I also agree with Big Bro right here.
Okay, so I just also want to add to for all the people who say all lives matter. I don't want you guys to get the Black Lives Matter mistaken. We're not saying that all lives don't matter, but it's just currently at the point when a specific racial group is being targeted, we need to tend to that. So I saw a video on Instagram the other day that this girl made, and basically, she was outside, a house was on fire, and one of the neighbors was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, we're heading to the house that, is on fire, our lives are at stake." And she's like, "Well, what about my house? Doesn't my house matter?" She was like, "No one ever said your house didn't matter, but is it under fire right now? Is it at stake?" So I kind of just want you guys to simmer on that and, really think about that, because that's what it is, And also, biblically, for my people who are spiritual and go to church, I just want to give a quick verse. It comes from Matthew 18, verse 12. And basically it says, "What do you think? If a man has 100 sheep and one of them goes astray, does he not leave the 99 and go to the mountains to seek the one that is straying?" I just want you guys to let that simmer in your head and think about that.
I have I saw something on Instagram also. Let me see if I could find it. It was about something very similar about the All Lives Matter. And I just want to let everyone know, yes, all lives do matter.
They do.
Okay? But let me read so you guys can understand. It says, for all my All Lives Matter folks, when the Boston Marathon was bombed, everybody's profile went to Boston strong. Nobody said all cities are strong. When the Las Vegas shooting happened, people changed their profiles to stand with Vegas. And nobody said, well, what about the people that got shot in my city? Have you ever seen someone counter a breast cancer post with, what about colon cancer? But for some reason, if someone says Black Lives Matter, it turns into an all-inclusive, all lives matter. It's not either or proclamation. Okay? When there is a crisis, we have always rallied around that particular group. It doesn't discredit or diminish any other group. It just brings awareness and support to the group that needs the attention.
Definitely.
And that's what you guys need to realize. Because every time it has something to do with something black, there's always a but.
Yeah.
There's always a but, and that needs to change, and that comes from society. And
Yeah.
we're fed up with it.
Yeah, you need to unlearn those ways of thinking, you know. If I saw that video what Derek Chauvin was doing to a white man, I would be infuriated too. Whether the guy was Asian, Native American, whatever it is, right is right, wrong is wrong. If you're a human and have a decent heart, you will see. That guy was handcuffed. At no point was he even a threat. You have tasers, guns. You're the threat to him, you know? He's not a threat to you.
He was on the ground.
Yeah, once he was handcuffed, he should have just been put into the car and brought to wherever it is. And honestly, for a $20 bill, like, that man's life was not worth $20. He has a woman at home, a kid that he could have came home to that he can no longer come home to. And personally, I used to work at a bank. If anybody ever gave us a counterfeit, we wouldn't even call the cops. We would just be like, we don't think this is real. We're gonna take this away. You can't use it. So that situation definitely could have been handled way differently. So we just need to come together and spread love and peace, because in a world that's so divided, like, this is America, you know, this is supposed to be a melting pot, diversity. We should spread love, give peace. God doesn't want to see things like this happening. Love your brother and sister. No more beefing, you know, we don't need that. So
spread more love.
yes,
Exactly.
definitely spread love, not hate. So I just, you know, before we wrap up, I just kind of want to give a list of names to people who were affected by police brutality, whether they were killed, harmed, or racially profiled. I just want to give a list of names. After I'm done giving the list of names, let's just take a moment of silence for them, okay? So George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Christian Cooper, Breonna Taylor, Atiana Jefferson, Katherine Johnson, Anthony Hill, Kevin Davis, Walter Scott, Jordan Davis, Renisha McBride, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, the Charleston Nine, John Crawford, Alton Sterling, Nicholas Thomas, Amadou Diallo, and Eric Garner. Let's just take a moment of silence for those people, please.
Sean Bell.
Thank you. So I just want to let you guys know, continue to spread love, and let's come together and peacefully resolve these hatred crimes and just get better together as a nation. I just want to thank Sean and Darren for coming on today's show. Thank you guys so much.
Of course, no
I
problem.
already know.
And I just want everybody to know, always remember to love yourself, accept yourself, and live authentically. And that's the Stacie Bell Show with your girl, Stacie.